For many radio listeners, a familiar Evansville radio voice is saying goodbye to his days behind the audio board today.
Ryan O'Brien from our radio partner, WKDQ, is turning off the microphone over 2 decades on the airways, and he's here to say goodbye if you listen to him after watching our morning news. So there you go.
That's right. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on this morning.
Of course, we love chatting with you. So first thing, what made you decide to say goodbye to radio? And then if you have a favorite moment to share with us, share it.
I think, it's been 25 years, which, as you guys know, is a long time in this business, in any media business. And certainly there are people in this area that have been doing it far longer and still very successful at it. You guys have a few people there on your side of things that have been at this for a really long time. I always thought that this would be what I would do until the day came that I was, going to retire. I was too old to do it, or I died. One of the two, whichever came first. I don't know. But then you get older and you start to think about things. And I don't know, maybe I'm having a midlife crisis. I have no idea. But thoughts change and opinions change, and I've done everything I want to do in this business. I've been fortunate enough to do that. And I just thought, I'm ready to see what else the world has to offer. And it's really that simple. I've accomplished everything I want to accomplish in this particular world, and I'm ready to try something else.
So let's talk about your career. We have some facts about you. You sent us a picture of a guy and a donkey. First off, which one is you in the picture?
I'm the one, at least on my side of things, I'm the one on the left in the sunglasses. That's me. But that picture was taken, there was some event, and it's a few years ago. That was down at the park there along the riverfront in Henderson, downtown Henderson. Is it Atkinson Park? I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Some event was going on. We went down there to hand out T-shirts and kind of hang out with people. And somebody brought that donkey, and he was kind enough to take a selfie with me. And fortunately enough, that picture turned out okay, honestly.
It's a beautiful picture. It is.
Thank you.
And we all know this, but for those at home that might, you do more than just show up early in the morning, sit behind a microphone, and entertain people on their morning drive. So what does it take to be a radio host? How difficult can it be?
Well, it can be. As you guys know, you guys have a 4 or 5 hour show. You've got to make sure that you've got enough stuff to fill it with, and that's what this is about on our end of things, too. We do 4 hours here every morning, 6 to 10, and it's sometimes more difficult than others. You guys know you run into slow news days, and we kind of run into days where there's just not a lot happening, and you've got to figure out how you're going to fill that 4 hour window. Now, granted, we have the advantage, unlike you guys, where we play songs and stuff in between, so that fills a little bit of that time. But you also want to bring up things that relates to the audience, and you want to be entertaining with that, which is not always as easy as it may sound. A lot of people, I've had so many people over the years tell me things like, oh, that sounds like such a fun job. And it is. It's a great job. It's a very fun job. Everybody says I'm very funny and that kind of stuff. And that's great, too. But as you know, it doesn't always necessarily translate that way. So, it's getting up early. If you don't mind getting up early, I get up at 3:30 in the morning, or at least I did. I won't have to do that anymore. And sometimes you stick around after the show. It's not just we get off the air and we go home and call it a day. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. You got to get ready for the next day's show. And there's a lot of prep work that goes into it. It can sometimes be a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week job, because even when you're not in the studio, you're thinking about and paying attention to things online or on TV or whatever, things like, okay, there's something that I can bring up tomorrow morning or later on this week or something along those lines. It's almost like a constant prep for being in that 4-hour window each and every morning. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, more than just walking in the door at 6 o'clock in the morning, sitting down and turning on a microphone.
And Ryan, we've only got a couple of seconds left here, unfortunately, with you, but can you tell us where you're going? Because we're all betting on you're going to be Jeremy Renner's stunt double. In fact, we got a picture here, side by side.
I got my Mayor 2, season 2 of Mayor of Kingstown.
Yes, and I've not seen that show yet, but I want to. So I've had that reference told to me several times, and there could be worse people I look like. If he's it, I'm perfectly happy with that.
So cool.
I'm getting completely out of media altogether. I'm staying in town.
Good.
So I'm going to go to work for a company called Tri-State Fire Protection, where I'm going to be an inspector. So I'll go around to different businesses and make sure that their sprinkler systems work if they need them to work, and their fire extinguishers are pressurized properly if they ever need to use those. It is something I have no experience in whatsoever, but I figure you're not too old to learn new stuff. And the guy who reached out to me, a guy I know that offered me the position, said, hey, look, I'll train you. If you're interested, I looked into it. It seems like kind of a fun, neat job. And I said, sure, you only live once. Let's see what happens and go with it. So that's where I'm off to. But I will still be the ring announcer for Guns N' Hoses.
All right.
Awesome. Yes.
There you go. There's an exclusive for you, I guess.
There you go. Well, we appreciate all your years working in radio and working with us, and we wish you the best. And we still say you're going to fill in for Jeremy Renner here. We still think
so. If he needs somebody, have him call me.
All right. Yeah. Best of luck to you, Ryan, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yep. Okay. And we'll be right back.